Judging.
Hi and welcome back to my channel. Today's video is going to be about why I chose to go to a DO school over an MD school, chiropractor, PA, and over nursing school. So I have my undergrad degree in nutrition and I got it at an in-state school because when I went to college, I did not know what I wanted to do afterwards. I actually started off as an art major and a math major together, double major. And then I ended up switching the math part to business, so then I was art and business fit. And I just both of them all together and switched to nutrition. And when I was doing this, I was trying to get the prerequisites for medical school. I just kind of went through a lot of stages of not knowing what I wanted to do with my life, and that continued after I graduated. I didn't know what type of graduate school I wanted to go to. So I had my degree in nutrition and had to decide what to do from there. I had all of the prerequisites to go to pretty much anything in the medical field. I tried to get all of those prerequisites done. The only thing that I would have had to go back to school for was if I wanted to become a registered dietitian, because my nutrition degree was actually in nutritional sciences, not the registered dietitian undergraduate degree, which just set me more up for medical school, and it was a little bit more scientific than the registered dietitian route. So I would have had to go back to school for another semester, and I did consider that, but I just didn't like the idea of working full-time dietitian because it just seems like not a lot of people listen to nutrition advice even if they need it, and I find that a little hard. And yes, there are people who go out and they pay for a registered dietitian to help them, but a lot of the knowledge that we learned was on working in a hospital setting and treating people who had just had heart attacks and things like that who needed nutritional intervention, and that was just a little bit hard for me because I feel like no one wants to hear that. And yes, they did just go through a catastrophic life event and someone needs to tell them that they need to change their diet. I just didn't want to be the person to do that because it just seemed forced. Yeah, it's always hot in here. Yeah. Okay, so then that left me with my other choices, which were either nursing school, PA school, an allopathic or an MD school, or what I decided to ultimately go for, which was DO. If you don't know what a DO school, it's essentially, it is medical school. It's the exact same. So it's a 4-year program, and then we still have to go to residency just like any other allopathic MD school. I decided to go with DO for many reasons. So I have my background in nutrition, so I like to see nutrition as the basis for health, and I like to see a lot more preventative medicine instead of just treating everything with drugs. And that really developed further as I worked after I graduated with my undergraduate degree. So I worked in a nursing home as well as a chiropractic assistant before I went into medical school. And I changed my mind about medicine a lot during those two experiences. So when I was a CNA, I saw a lot of people who were in really bad shape. I worked on the hospice hall, so I dealt with a lot of people who were at the last few months or weeks of, or even days of their lives. And it was really hard to see them in the state where they relied on medicine so heavily and they had no other options, and it just made me really sad. That just kind of showed me that there is a need for medicine and there is a place where medicine belongs in the form of drugs and in the form of pharmaceuticals. But I also wanted to be on the other side of that, where I could help prevent people from ending up in those situations where they had diabetes or heart disease or obesity that kept them from walking. While I was still working as a CNA, I got a job as a chiropractic assistant. And this chiropractic assistant position was different, and I was actually recommended it by one of my nutrition professors. The chiropractor that I worked for was a functional medicine chiropractor. And if you don't know what that is, that just means that she addressed health from a different perspective. So she didn't just do back cracking and chiropractic things. She did some of that, but she also drew blood and did blood work and looked at people's chemistries and tried to balance their hormones and things like that using forms that were not pharmaceutical. So we actually saw a lot of people change their lives during that. All of her patients who came in, a lot of them had some really bad problems and they had gone to see several doctors. I did see how that realm of medicine had a place in health and wellness and the medical field, and I saw a lot of people change their lives for the better. And I also saw a lot of people who it didn't work for them and that they probably needed some sort of pharmaceutical to help them. So I saw a little bit of both sides. At the nursing home, I saw the need for pharmaceuticals and I saw the need for that sort of medicine, but then in the chiropractic situation I saw where she pretty much said pharmaceuticals never really needed a place. So it was a little bit of both sides. While I was working there, she tried to convince me to go to chiropractic school because chiropractors actually can do a lot of things in the medical field. They can pretty much do everything that doctors can do except for surgery and order pharmaceutical prescriptions. So she had a lot of abilities, like she could do blood draws, she could have people working underneath her like I was, and it was kind of interesting because she had her whole own practice that centered around functional medicine and around healing people, but it just wasn't a doctor's office. I also considered doing PA school or nursing school, but I didn't really like the idea of having to work under somebody, and I wanted to be able to make decisions I wanted to instead of having to fit somebody else's idea of what health was. So that's why I ended up narrowing it down to either MD or DO, allopathic or osteopathic medical school. And I knew that I wanted to go back to school. I actually really love learning. 4 more years of school doesn't seem like anything to me, which is kind of crazy for a lot of people to hear. I ended up going with DO because of my experience with my nutrition undergrad and with my experience at the chiropractic office. The main difference between an MD and a DO is that DOs see more of a holistic approach, and the body is all interconnected, and there are 4 osteopathic tenets if you want to look them up, but that's just kind of the basis of what differentiates DOs from allopathic doctors, MDs. I just think that it's really important for people to understand the difference between those. If you're planning on going to medical school, make sure you research the difference between the two, because there are a lot of things that can either sway you one way or the other. So especially if you're planning on doing something a little bit more whole patient approach like I am, where we want to approach nutrition and the underlying causes of disease instead of just treating the diseases with surgery and with pharmaceuticals, then I would recommend going the DO route. One of the other things that makes us different is that we actually learn a little bit of physical therapy, chiropractic sort of stuff. And that's actually why I'm dressed in workout clothes right now, because we have these labs every week where we learn how to treat people and patients. We learn how to, we learn how to crack people's backs, but then we also learn how to do physical manipulations so that we can help people who have restraints and restrictions in certain places. And then we also learn how to do lymphatic drainage and things like that that can help people who are chronically ill so that they can have their immune system bumped up a little bit. And yeah, it's just kind of interesting that there's this whole realm of medicine that people don't really know about. I think that it's just this wonderful mix of both worlds where you can learn how to use Western medicine and Eastern medicine and kind of join them together. The benefit of being an osteopathic doctor is that really you can use that as much or as little as you want. And I really do think there's a balance point, and I think it's different for every patient, but just having the ability to have that option and helping people with their nutrition as well as being able to write them prescriptions is really what I was looking for. I hope that that all made sense, and if you have any questions, please feel free to ask them and I will answer them as well as I can. I hope that everyone has a great day, and I will talk to you next time. Bye!